I
Hi
sent my baby's
everyone, look at
photo
this
to a
little
wrong
kitty.
number. The city's most
Yes, mommy
dangerous
loves you
man
so
just
much.
replied. It was 20:00 a.m. I was exhausted, and my thumb slipped. One wrong tap sent a photo of my 6-month-old son to a number I should have deleted a year ago. I thought it was a harmless mistake, until the reply came back. It wasn't my
Shh,
sister.
it's all
It was
right, little
Cameron
one.
Green, the man the headlines
Got
call
you
the
right
devil of the
here.
underworld. His message had only 10 words, and
That's
they
my
turned my
good
blood to
baby.
ice. Who is this? And why does this boy have my eyes? My nightmare was just beginning. Before we find out what happens next, I have a quick question. Where in the world are you watching from? Also, how are you liking these stories? Rate them 1 to 10 below. Don't forget to subscribe for more fresh content. Now, stay tuned until the very end because this twist changes everything. Let's dive in. I was staring at the cracked screen of my phone, the blue light making Max's face look almost ghostly in the photo I'd just taken. My thumb hovered over the send button. The apartment smelled like sour milk and yesterday's coffee. My eyes burned, hadn't slept more than 3 hours in 2 days. Max was finally asleep. Finally. His little chest rising and falling in that perfect rhythm that made my own breathing slow down. I wanted to capture it, bottle it somehow, send it to someone who'd understand. My sister, Sarah, would get it. I scrolled through my contacts, vision blurring. The names swam together. Sarah, wait, which one? My finger tapped sent. The whoosh sound cut through the silence like a knife. I blinked. Looked at the screen again. The name at the top wasn't Sarah, it was Cameron. My stomach dropped so fast I thought I'd vomit right there on the carpet. The same carpet with the formula stain I'd been scrubbing for 20 minutes before Max woke up crying. Cameron Green. That number should have been deleted 3 years ago. Should have been erased the morning I walked out of that warehouse with his blood still under my fingernails. No, 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 no. I tried to unsend it. Pressed everything. The photo just sat there. Delivered. Blue check marks mocking me. My hand started shaking. The phone slipped, clattered against the wooden floor. The sound echoed too loud in the tiny apartment. Max stirred, made that little grunt he does before he starts crying. Baby, shh. I picked him up, his weight solid and warm against my chest. He smelled like baby soap and that particular sweetness only babies have. Mommy made a mistake. The phone buzzed on the floor, once, twice. I stared at it like it was a snake coiling up to strike. It kept buzzing, vibrating against the cheap laminate, making that angry rattling sound. I should have left it. Should have thrown it out the window, smashed it something. But my hand reached down anyway. Picked it up. The message glowed on the cracked screen. Who is this, and why does this child have my exact eyes? My throat closed up. The air in the room got thick, heavy like breathing through wet cloth. Max grabbed my finger, squeezed it with his tiny hand. Those eyes, his eyes, I'd told myself for 9 months they were my father's eyes. Same dark brown, almost black. Same way they crinkled at the corners. But they weren't. They were Cameron's. Have you ever looked at your own child and seen someone else staring back? Someone you were trying to forget? Tell me in the comments. When did you realize you couldn't run from your past anymore? I sat down on the couch. The springs creaked under my weight, that same broken spring that always dug into my left hip. My fingers moved on their own, typing. Wrong number. Sorry. Delete. Delete. I couldn't send that. He'd already seen. Already looked at Max's face and recognized something. The phone rang. Not a text, a call. Cameron Green's name flashing on the screen like a warning siren. I declined it. My whole body was shaking now. It rang again immediately. Max started fussing, sensing my panic through whatever invisible thread connects mothers to their babies. It's okay, baby, it's... My voice cracked. It's fine. The ringing stopped. A text came through. Answer the phone, Raina. I know it's you. I recognized the area code. How did he? Of course he did. Cameron Green didn't forget anything. Not faces, not numbers. Not the girl who stitched him up on a warehouse floor while he bled out from a bullet wound. June 14, 2154. The rain had been coming down so hard that night it sounded like static. The warehouse on 5th and Morrison, the one they tore down 6 months later. He'd been half-conscious, mumbling about traders and family. I'd been 22. Stupid. Working as a nurse in the free clinic downtown where they didn't ask questions about gunshot wounds. One night, that's all it was supposed to be. One night, and then I disappeared. The phone rang again. This time I answered. Cameron, where are you? His voice hadn't changed. Still that low, controlled tone that made every word sound like a command. I told you, wrong number. I meant to send this to... Don't lie to me, Raina. How old is he? I couldn't speak. My tongue felt like sandpaper against the roof of my mouth. How old? 11 months. The words came out as a whisper, silence on the other end. I could hear him breathing. Could almost picture him in whatever expensive penthouse he lived in now, standing perfectly still the way he always did when he was processing information. 11 months. He repeated. You were pregnant when you left. I didn't know. You didn't know, or you didn't tell me. Both. My free hand was gripping Max so tight he started squirming. I loosened my hold. I found out 3 weeks after I left, and I couldn't come back. You know I couldn't. Because of what I am. Because of who you are. The radiator in the corner hissed, spitting out lukewarm air that barely cut through the November cold seeping through the cracked window frame. What's his name? Cameron's voice had changed. Softer. Almost. I couldn't place it. Max. Maxwell James. Your father's name. He remembered. Of course he remembered. I'd mentioned my dad once, in the delirium of stitching up his side, trying to keep him talking so he wouldn't pass out. I was told I couldn't have children. His words came out measured, careful. After the incident, the doctors said the damage was permanent. Maybe they were wrong. They weren't wrong. Something hard edged into his voice. Someone lied. I stood up, started pacing. 3 steps to the window, 3 steps back. The floorboards creaked under the worn carpet. Max's head bobbed against my shoulder with each step. Cameron, listen. I'm sending a car. What? No, you're not. 6 a.m. Be ready. I'm not going anywhere with. The line went dead. I stared at the phone, my reflection ghostly in the black screen. Outside, a car alarm went off. Someone shouted. Normal city sounds that suddenly felt threatening. I walked to the window, pulled back the thin curtain. The street below was empty except for a few parked cars, and the bodega on the corner with its flickering neon sign. But I knew the way you know when you're being watched. Somewhere in this city, Cameron Green was making a phone call. Giving orders, setting things in motion that I couldn't stop. I looked down at Max. He'd fallen back asleep, his mouth slightly open, completely trusting. I'm sorry, baby, I whispered into his soft hair. Mommy really messed up this time. The apartment suddenly felt smaller, the walls closing in. Every shadow in the corner looked like it was hiding something. I checked the locks on the door. Both of them. The chain too. Then I sat down on the couch and waited for morning, knowing that sleep wouldn't come, watching the clock on the microwave tick away the last hours of the life I'd built. The life where I was nobody. The life where Max was just mine. At 5:47 a.m. 3 black SUVs pulled up outside my building. Twana, the leather of Cameron's chair was cold even through his shirt. He'd been sitting in the same position for 43 minutes, staring at the photo on his phone screen. The boy was laughing in the picture, mouth wide open, showing those tiny baby teeth. But it was the eyes that made Cameron's chest feel like someone had reached in and squeezed. His eyes, not similar, not reminiscent, identical, the same dark brown that turned black in certain light, the same slight downturn at the outer corners. Even that small birthmark barely visible, just beneath the left eye. Cameron had that same mark. Hidden now under the scar tissue from the knife fight when he was 16, Marcus stood by the door silent. Waiting. Run the number, Cameron said without looking up. Already did. Registered to Arena Cross. Lives in the Westside District, apartment 4B on. I know where she lives. Cameron's finger traced the edge of his phone. I know exactly where she lives. He'd known since the day she disappeared. Had the address within 6 hours. But he'd made himself a promise that night in the hospital, drugged up on painkillers and rage. Let her go. She'd saved his life and asked for nothing except to leave. So he'd let her. The only person he'd ever let walk away. Should I bring her in? Marcus shifted his weight. The floorboards in the penthouse never creaked, imported Italian marble throughout, but Cameron could read his discomfort anyway. Not yet. Cameron zoomed in on the photo. The baby was wearing a blue onesie with little whales on it, cheap fabric, the kind you buy in bulk at discount stores. Find out everything, where she works, who she talks to, if she's seeing anyone. On it. Marcus turned to leave. Wet. Cameron set the phone down on his desk. Face up, the baby's face still visible. The medical records. From after the shooting. I want the originals. The originals were sealed per your. I don't care what they were. Get them. Marcus left. The door closed with that expensive soft click that cost $3,000 to engineer. Cameron stood up, walked to the window. The city sprawled below him, 47 floors down, lights like scattered diamonds. Somewhere down there, Raina was probably panicking. Good. She should panic. She'd kept his son from him for 11 months. His son. The words felt foreign in his mind. Wrong somehow. He'd accepted the sterility diagnosis 6 years ago. Accepted it the way you accept a scar, permanent, unchangeable. Dr. Volkov had been very clear. The internal damage is extensive, Mr. Green. The probability of successful conception is less than 1%. I'm sorry. Cameron had nodded. Thanked him. Written a check for the consultation. Never thought about it again. Until now. He pulled up his contacts, scrolled to a name he hadn't called in 3 years. The phone rang 4 times. Do you have any idea what time it is? Dr. Volkov's voice was thick with sleep. I need you to explain something to me. Cameron watched his reflection in the window. His tie was loose. When had he loosened it? You told me I was sterile. Silence. Decker Volkov. Ah yes. The test results were conclusive. The trauma from the gunshot wound caused. Could you have been wrong? More silence. Cameron could hear breathing on the other end. Fast, shallow breaths. Theoretically, no. The tests were run multiple times. By different labs I supervised the. Could someone have tampered with the results? The breathing stopped. Mr. Green, if you're suggesting that. Answer the question. It's possible. If someone had access to the samples. Or if they intercepted the results before they reached you. But why would anyone? Cameron ended the call. He knew why. An air was a weakness in his world. A vulnerability. Something enemies could target. Something family could use to leverage power. His uncle Victor had been very vocal about the sterility diagnosis. Unfortunate, he'd said at that family dinner, cutting into his steak. But perhaps it's for the best. A man in your position doesn't need the complication of children. Cameron had agreed at the time. Now he pulled up Victor's contact information. Stared at it, his phone buzzed. Marcus. Financial records show regular payments to Westside Medical Clinic. She's a nurse, night shift, no criminal record, no social media presence, lives alone. Building security confirms no regular male visitors. Cameron typed back, who owns the building? 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again, a subsidiary of Meridian Holdings. Cameron smiled, no warmth in it. Meridian Holdings. One of his shell companies. She'd been living in a building he technically owned for 3 years and didn't even know it. The universe had a sense of humor. He looked at the photo again. Really looked at it this time. The background showed a small apartment. He could see the edge of a worn couch, cheap curtains, a smoke detector with a blinking red light. She was barely surviving. While he sat in a penthouse worth more than most people made in a lifetime. While his son, their son, wore discount store clothes and probably slept in a crib bought secondhand. Something hot and unfamiliar burned in his chest. Not quite anger. Not quite guilt, responsibility. He'd spent his entire adult life avoiding responsibility for anything except his empire. No attachments, no weaknesses. But this, his phone lit up with another message from Marcus. Medical files acquired. You need to see these. Someone altered the reports. Original tests show normal fertility. Cameron's hand tightened around the phone. The case creaked. So it was true. Someone in his inner circle had lied. Had stolen the possibility of this from him. His son had been alive for 11 months and he didn't know. 11 months of milestones he'd missed. First smile. First laugh. First, he stopped himself. Emotion was a luxury he couldn't afford. Not now. Now he needed to think strategically. Raina had disappeared for a reason. She knew what he was. What his world looked like. She'd chosen poverty over proximity to him. That should have hurt. It didn't. It made sense. But the boy changed everything. He pulled up the photo one more time. Zoomed in on those eyes. His genetics. His bloodline. His legacy in his world that made the child a target. Every enemy he'd ever made would see the boy as leverage, a way to control him, to hurt him. Uncle Victor, the Kozlov family, the district attorney who'd been trying to build a case against him for 5 years. They'd all see the same thing: weakness. Cameron made 3 phone calls. First to his head of security. I need a full detail. Surveillance and protection starting immediately. Second to his lawyer. Draw up custody papers and NDA agreements. I'll send you the details. Third to Marcus, 6 a.m. Send the car. Bring her in quietly. No force unless necessary. And if she refuses. Cameron looked out at the city again. The sky was starting to lighten on the eastern horizon. Pale gray bleeding into the darkness. She won't refuse. He ended the call. Because Raina was smart. She'd figure out what he'd already calculated. That photograph hadn't just been sent to him. It had been delivered. Time-stamped. Probably already backed up on some server somewhere. And if he'd received it, if he'd seen it, others might too. His enemies had people everywhere. In phone companies, in tech firms, hackers who could pull deleted data from thin air. That one accidental photo had painted a target on the boy's back bigger than anything Cameron had ever faced. She'd brought his son into a war zone without even knowing it. He grabbed his coat from the back of the chair. Pulled it on. The fabric settled over his shoulders with familiar weight. Marcus appeared in the doorway. The team is ready. Good. Cameron straightened his collar, caught his reflection in the window one more time. He looked the same as he had an hour ago. Same face. Same scars hidden under expensive clothes. But something had shifted. Some internal calibration he couldn't name. 24 hours ago he was just Cameron Green. The untouchable. The king without an heir. Now he was a father. And that changed every single calculation. Let's go, he said. The elevator descended in silence. 47 floors. Cameron counted each one, a habit from childhood. Always know how far you have to fall. The underground garage smelled like concrete and motor oil. 3 black SUVs waited, engines already running. Cameron climbed into the middle vehicle. The door shut with that solid thunk of bulletproof engineering. Westside District, he told the driver. Apartment 4B. The convoy pulled out into the pre-dawn darkness. Cameron pulled up the photo one last time. Stared at his son's face. "I'm coming," he whispered to the screen. "And I'm gonna make sure nothing ever touches you." Even if that meant Raina would hate him for what came next. Even if it meant becoming the monster she'd run from in the first place. Some things were worth the cost. This tiny human who shared his DNA was worth everything. The city blurred past the tinted windows. Cameron didn't look at it, just kept his eyes on that photo, memorizing every detail. The way the baby's fingers curled around something out of frame. The tiny dimple in his left cheek. The milk stain on the onesie's shoulder. Evidence of a life Cameron hadn't been part of. That ended today. The convoy turned onto Westside Avenue. 5 minutes out, Cameron's phone buzzed. A message from Victor. "Heard you had an interesting night. We should talk." He deleted it without responding. 4 minutes. The buildings got shabbier. More graffiti. Broken streetlights. This was where she'd chosen to raise his son. In this neighborhood where gunshots were background noise. 3 minutes. Cameron's jaw tightened. His molars ground together. That habit from childhood he'd never broken. 2 minutes. The convoy slowed. Pulled up outside a 5-story walk-up with peeling paint and a front door that didn't close properly. 1 minute. Marcus turned from the front seat. "She's been watching from the window for the last 20 minutes. She knows we're here." Cameron nodded. Buttoned his suit jacket. Checked his watch. 5:47 a.m. 13 minutes early. Good. Let her wait those 13 minutes. Let her understand that this was real. That he was coming. That her life, their lives, had just changed forever. At exactly 60 a.m. Cameron stepped out of the SUV. The morning air was cold. Sharp. It smelled like garbage from the overflowing bins and exhaust from the idling engines. He looked up at the 4th floor. A curtain moved. He smiled. Then he walked toward the building, his men flanking him, to claim what was his. 30. The knock came at exactly 6:00 a.m. 3 sharp raps that sounded nothing like a neighbor asking for sugar. I was standing in the middle of the living room, still wearing yesterday's clothes. Max was strapped to my chest in the baby carrier, sleeping somehow despite my heart hammering against his back. I'd packed a bag. Unpacked it. Packed it again. What do you bring when a mafia boss summons you? Diapers and a spare onesie felt ridiculous. But so did lipstick and nice shoes. The knock came again. Harder this time. My hand reached for the doorknob, stopped. The metal was cold under my palm. "Miss Cross." A man's voice filtered through the cheap wood. Polite. Professional. "Mr. Green is waiting." I could pretend I wasn't home. Could grab Max and climb out the fire escape. Disappear the way I did 3 years ago. Except I looked out the window an hour ago. Saw the 3 SUVs. Saw the men in suits positioned at every exit. There was no disappearing this time. I opened the door. The man in the hallway looked like he'd been assembled in a factory. Perfect charcoal suit, no wrinkles, hair cut so precisely, it could have been measured with a ruler. His eyes swept over me once, took in my sweatpants, my unwashed hair, then settled on Max. Something shifted in his expression. Just for a second. "I'm Marcus Chen, head of security for Mr. Green." He pulled out a phone from his inner pocket. Not a request. A statement of fact. "We need to leave now. I haven't agreed to." "Miss Cross." He stepped closer. Not threatening, worse, patient, like he was explaining something to a child. 3 hours ago, someone accessed the cellular tower logs for this district. They pulled message metadata for the last 48 hours. Do you understand what that means? My throat went dry. It means whoever wanted that information now knows a photo was sent from this address to Cameron Green's private line. It means they're probably cross-referencing that with public records, birth certificates, hospital admissions. How long do you think it takes them to do the math? Max stirred against my chest. Made that little sound he does before he wakes up. "Who? Does it matter?" Marcus held out the phone. "Mr. Green wants to speak with you. Then you can decide." I took the phone. My hand was shaking. Put it to my ear. "Raina." Cameron's voice filled my head. Same as it had been 3 years ago when he'd grabbed my wrist in that warehouse and pulled me close, whispering thank you through gritted teeth before passing out. "This isn't fair," I said. "You can't just..." "Fair." A sound that might have been a laugh. Bitter. "You think anything about this situation is fair? You kept my son from me for 11 months. I was protecting him. From me? From your world." Silence. I could hear something in the background. An engine running. He was already in the car. That world found him anyway. Cameron said quietly. "The second you hit send, you made him visible. You painted a target on his back the size of the goddamn sun. You're trying to scare me. I'm trying to keep you alive." His voice dropped lower. That tone he used when he was deadly serious. My Uncle Victor called me 20 minutes ago. He shouldn't know anything about last night. But he does. Which means I have a leak. Which means information travels. And information in my world gets people killed. I pressed my free hand against the wall. The paint was peeling under my fingers. I picked at it, focused on the texture, anything to steady myself. So what do you want? Get in the car. Come to my estate. Let me protect you both while I figure out who's compromised. And then what? Then we talk. About our son. Our son. The words hit different when he said them out loud. How do I know you won't? Won't what? Keep you prisoner, Reina, he sighed. If I wanted to take Max from you, I could. Right now. Marcus has 8 men with him. You have a deadbolt that wouldn't stop a determined teenager. So ask yourself, if I wanted to just take him, why am I offering you a choice? Because it wasn't really a choice. That's what made Cameron dangerous. He gave you options that all led to the same place. 1 hour. I said. I come for 1 hour. We talk, then I leave. Fine. You promise I can leave? The silence stretched out. 3 seconds. 5, I promise, he finally said. That if you want to leave after we talk, I won't stop you. That wasn't the same thing. But it was all I was getting. I handed the phone back to Marcus. I need to grab. Everything you need will be provided. He gestured toward the elevator. The car is climate controlled. There's a car seat already installed. Medical grade sterilization. Green was very specific. Of course he was. I looked back at my apartment one last time. The couch with the broken spring. The kitchen table I'd found on the curb and sanded down myself. The life I'd built from nothing. It looked smaller somehow. Like I was already seeing it from a distance. Max woke up as we stepped into the hallway. Blinked those big dark eyes up at me. It's okay, baby, I whispered. We're just going for a ride. The elevator smelled like mildew and someone's burnt dinner from 3 days ago. It shuddered on the way down. That grinding sound that made me think one day the cables would just snap. Marcus stood perfectly still. Probably rode in elevators that cost more than this entire building. The doors opened to the lobby. Mrs. Chen from 2C was getting her mail. She looked up, saw Marcus, saw the men waiting by the entrance in their expensive suits. Her eyes went wide. Reina, her voice pitched up. You okay? I'm fine, Mrs. Chen. What could I even say? Just visiting a friend. Friends don't send armed escorts. But she nodded, clutched her mail tighter, scurried back toward the stairs. The men outside formed a corridor. Professional. Efficient. I walked through them like I was being escorted to an execution. The middle SUV had its door open. I could see the car seat Marcus mentioned. Top of the line. The kind with NASA-approved safety ratings. I climbed in. The leather seat was heated. The air smelled like new car and something else. Cedar maybe. Expensive cologne. Marcus took the front passenger seat. The door closed with that heavy sound that told me these windows were bulletproof. The convoy started moving. I looked out the tinted window as my building disappeared behind us. A woman was putting out trash. A kid on a bike. Normal people doing normal things. I used to be normal. There's water in the compartment. Marcus pointed without turning around, and we stocked some basic baby supplies. Diapers, wipes, formula if you need it. He's breastfed, noted. Max grabbed my finger. Squeezed it with that grip that was getting stronger every day. Have you ever made a choice you knew was wrong but couldn't see another way? Tell me in the comments, when did you realize you'd stopped running toward something and started running away? The city changed outside the window. Buildings got nicer. Cleaner. We crossed into the financial district. Then passed it into the hills where the real money lived. 23 minutes of driving. I counted every one. The estate appeared through the morning fog like something out of a movie. Iron gates. Security cameras every 10 feet. The gates opened automatically. The convoy rolled through. Gardens. Actual gardens with fountains and those trees that get trimmed into perfect shapes. The driveway curved up to a mansion that looked like it belonged in Europe somewhere. My apartment could fit in the garage. The SUV stopped. Marcus got out first, opened my door. I unbuckled the car seat. My hands fumbled with the straps. Marcus waited. Patient. Finally got Max free. Held him against my chest. He was wide awake now, looking around with those curious eyes. This way. Marcus led me up the stone steps. The front door opened before we reached it. A woman in a gray dress stood there. Older, sharp eyes that cataloged me in one glance. Dismissed me in the next. Miss Cross, I'm Helen. I manage the household. She stepped aside. Mr. Green is waiting in the east study. The entrance hall had marble floors. A chandelier that probably cost more than I'd make in 10 years. Paintings on the walls that looked old and important. My sneakers squeaked against the marble. We walked through hallways that seemed to go on forever. Past rooms with closed doors. A library. A dining room with a table that could seat 20. Finally Marcus stopped at a heavy wooden door. Knocked once. Come in. Cameron's voice. Marcus opened the door, gestured for me to enter. I hesitated. This was it. The moment I walked in, everything changed. Max made a noise. That happy gurgle he does when he's content. I stepped through the door. The study was all dark wood and leather. Books lined the walls. A massive desk dominated the space. Cameron stood by the window, hands in his pockets. He didn't turn right away. I'd forgotten how tall he was, how the light hit his shoulders, the exact shape of his jaw. He turned. Our eyes met. 3 years. 3 years since I'd seen that face. It hadn't changed. Same sharp features. Same scar along his left cheekbone from whatever fight I didn't know about. Same way he stood perfectly still, like a predator conserving energy. But his eyes went straight to Max, and something in his expression cracked. Just for a second. Like ice breaking. Jesus, he whispered. He crossed the room in 4 long strides, stopped 3 feet away. Close enough I could smell that cedar cologne. His hand lifted, reached toward Max, stopped. Can I? His voice caught. Can I hold him? I should have said no. Should have kept Max close, kept this distance between them. But something in Cameron's face, he looked terrified. Cameron Green, who I'd watched stare down a man with a gun without blinking, looked absolutely terrified of a baby. Support his head, I heard myself say. I transferred Max into his arms. Our hands touched for a second. That same electric shock I remembered. Cameron cradled Max like he was made of glass. His large hands dwarfed the baby's body. Max looked up at him, blinked those dark eyes, then smiled. That gummy baby smile that made my heart melt every single time. Cameron made a sound. Not quite a laugh, not quite a sob. He looks exactly like my father, he said, voice rough. Same smile. Same. He stopped, swallowed hard. I watched them, father and son, mirrors of each other. The door clicked shut behind me. Marcus had left. We were alone. Cameron sat down slowly in the leather chair, still holding Max, moving carefully like any sudden motion might break the spell. 11 months. He said to Max. You've been alive for 11 months and I didn't know. Cameron. I'm not angry. He looked up at me. I should be. But I'm not. I'm angry at myself, for being the kind of man you had to run from. The words hung in the air between us. Outside birds were starting to sing. Morning sounds filtering through the expensive windows. Max grabbed Cameron's finger. Held on, and Cameron, this man who'd built an empire on fear and control, looked down at his son with an expression I'd never seen on his face before. Wonder. Pure, absolute wonder. His name is Maxwell, I said quietly. Maxwell James. He's born February 3rd. 7 pounds 4 ounces. He likes sung to. Hates baths. He's starting to pull himself up on furniture. Cameron absorbed every word like he was memorizing scripture. February 3rd. He repeated. That was the day someone shot out the windows on my west warehouse. I was in a meeting. Thought it was an attack. Spent 16 hours in lockdown. The day his son was born, he was hiding in a bunker. The irony wasn't lost on either of us. I need you to understand something, Cameron said, still looking at Max. Everyone I've ever cared about became a target. My father, my sister, even my mother, before she got smart and left the country. I decided a long time ago that the best way to protect people was to not care about them. And now I have a son. He finally looked at me. And I care very much about keeping him alive. The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. What are you saying? I'm saying that whoever leaked information about last night to my uncle is still in my organization. I'm saying that my enemies move fast. And I'm saying, he stood up carefully, still holding Max, that I'm not giving you a choice anymore, Reina. You're staying here, both of you, until I eliminate the threat. You said I could leave. I said if you wanted to leave after we talked, I wouldn't stop you. His eyes went hard. I didn't say I'd let you walk into a death trap. You're holding us prisoner. I'm keeping you alive. Max started fussing, picking up on the tension. Cameron handed him back to me immediately. Our hands touched again. That electricity. There are 6 bedrooms on the 3rd floor, he said, stepping back. Helen will show you which one is yours. Anything you need, just ask. I've already had medical supplies ordered, baby furniture, everything. I don't want. This isn't about what you want anymore. His voice went cold. Professional. The man I remembered from the warehouse. This is about survival. And like it or not, that baby makes you my responsibility now. He's not a possession. No. Cameron walked back to the window, looked out at his estate. He's my son, which makes him the most dangerous thing I've ever owned. The word echoed owned. Helen will bring breakfast at 7. He said without turning around. We'll discuss arrangements after you've rested. I was being dismissed, like an employee, like someone who worked for him. I turned toward the door. Stopped. Cameron. Yes, that night in the warehouse. When I left, you told me to run and never look back. My voice shook but I kept going. You said that being near you was a death sentence. That anyone you cared about ended up dead. I remember. So tell me, I shifted Max higher on my hip. What's different now? Why is being here safer than being out there? He turned, met my eyes across the room. Because now they already know, he said simply. And the only way to protect you both is to make it very clear that anyone who touches my family answers to me personally. His family. The words settled over me like a cage. Beautiful, expensive, still a cage. 1 week, I said. You get 1 week to fix this. Then we leave. Cameron smiled. No warmth in it. 1 week. He agreed. We both knew he was lying. 40. The bedroom Helen showed me had a bathroom bigger than my entire apartment. I stood at the marble counter, washing Max's bottles I'd brought from home. The water was too hot. Steam rising up, fogging the mirror. My reflection disappeared into white. Appropriate. I'd been in the estate for 6 hours. 6 hours of Helen bringing things I didn't ask for. A crib that probably cost more than my car. Organic baby food in little glass jars. Clothes in Max's size, tags still on. Someone had taken measurements, gotten his size exactly right. That wasn't a guess. That was surveillance. How long had Cameron been watching? The thought made my hands shake. A bottle slipped, clattered in the sink. Max was asleep in the crib. Finally. He'd been fussy all afternoon, sensing my anxiety the way babies do. A knock on the door, soft, calculated. Miss Cross. Helen's voice. Mr. Green requests your presence in the East study. I'll stay with the baby. Not a request, a summons. I dried my hands on a towel that was softer than anything I'd ever owned. Looked at myself in the mirror as the fog cleared. Same face. Different prison. Helen stood in the hallway when I opened the door. Gray dress perfectly pressed. Hair in that same tight bun. He's sleeping, I said. If he wakes up, I raised 4 children, Miss Cross. I'm quite capable. She moved past me into the room. Took up position in the chair by the crib like a sentry. I walked through the silent hallways. My footsteps echoed on the marble. Everything in this house echoed. The study door was cracked open. Light spilled out. I pushed it wider. Cameron sat behind his desk. A file folder open in front of him. Papers spread out like evidence at a crime scene. He didn't look up. Close the door. I did. The click sounded final. Sit down. There was a chair across from his desk. Leather. Expensive. I sat on the edge of it. Cameron's jaw was tight. That muscle jumping near his ear that meant he was furious about something. He slid a paper across the desk toward me. Rate it. I picked it up. Medical letterhead. Dr. Andrei Volkov, fertility specialist. My eyes scanned the words extensive internal damage. Probability of conception less than 1%. Permanent sterility likely. The date at the top June 28, 2151. 3 weeks before that night in the warehouse. I don't understand, I said. He slid another paper across, same letterhead. Different date June 15, 2151. This one said all tests within normal ranges. No indication of fertility issues. Patient should have no difficulty conceiving. I looked up. Cameron's eyes were black, flat. The look he got before someone died. Someone switched the reports, he said. Quite, deadly. Someone wanted me to believe I couldn't have children. Who would? My uncle Victor. He pulled out another document. Bank records. Highlighted lines showing payments to Dr. Volkov. He paid the doctor $500,000. 3 separate transfers. I set the papers down. My hands were shaking again. Why? Because an hair complicates things. Cameron stood up, walked to the window. Always the window, like he needed to see the boundaries of his kingdom. My father's will states that if I die without an heir, the entire organization goes to Victor. He becomes head of the family. Controls everything. So he made sure you couldn't have one. He tried. Cameron's reflection in the glass showed a smile that made my blood cold. But you and I had a different plan. Whether we knew it or not. Have you ever discovered that someone you trusted had been sabotaging your life for years? Tell me in the comments. At what point does betrayal stop being surprising and just become expected? I stood up, needed to move, started pacing. 3 steps toward the bookshelf, 3 steps back. That night, I said. In the warehouse, you were bleeding out from a gunshot wound to your side. You said. I stopped. Remembered. You said it was family business gone wrong. It was supposed to be a meeting. Just me and Victor, discussing territory disputes. Cameron turned from the window. Someone opened fire from the building across the street. Professional hit. Victor was conveniently late. You think he tried to kill you? I think he's been trying to kill me for 6 years. This, he gestured to the medical reports, was just another angle. If he couldn't kill me, he'd make sure I died without an heir. Either way, he wins. The pieces were falling into place. Ugly pieces that made an uglier picture. And now Max exists, I said slowly. Which ruins his whole plan. Which makes Max a target. Cameron walked toward me. Stopped 2 feet away. Close enough I could smell the cedar and something underneath. Stress, sweat, fear. Victor called me this morning. Said we needed to talk about new developments. He knows Reina. I don't know how, but he knows. My chest got tight. What does that mean? It means, Cameron ran a hand through his hair. First time I'd seen him do that. The perfect composure cracking. It means I need to make a decision. Fast. He walked to a cabinet in the corner. Opened it. Pulled out a bottle of whiskey and 2 glasses. Poured without asking if I wanted one. Slid a glass across the desk toward me. I didn't touch it. He downed his in one swallow. Poured another. There are 3 ways this ends, he said. Option 1, I kill Victor. Start a war with half my organization who are loyal to him. People die. Lots of people, and in the chaos someone gets to you and Max. Option 2, I give him what he wants. Step down, disappear, take you both somewhere he can't find us. He laughed, no humor in it. Except there's nowhere he can't find us. I have enemies on 6 continents. The second I'm not actively protecting my territory, someone moves in. And they'll use you as leverage. The whiskey in his glass caught the light. Amber like honey. Like blood. What's option 3? Cameron looked at me. Really looked. Like he was trying to see past my skin into whatever I was made of. Option 3 is I make you untouchable. How? By making it very public, very official, that you and Max are under my protection. Not hidden. Not a secret. Out in the open where everyone can see. My stomach dropped. You mean? I mean we get married. He said it like he was discussing a business transaction. Next week. Big ceremony. Every family, every organization, every enemy I have gets an invitation. They see you standing next to me. They see my ring on your finger. They understand that touching you means war. The room tilted. I grabbed the edge of the desk. That's insane. That's survival. You can't just. I can. He set his glass down, walked around the desk, stood in front of me. In my world, marriage is a declaration. It's saying this is mine, and I'll burn everything to keep it. It's the only language these people understand. I'm not a possession. No, you're the mother of my child, which makes you more valuable than any possession I've ever had. His hand came up, hesitated, then cupped my jaw, thumb brushing my cheekbone. I should have pulled away. I didn't. 3 years ago you saved my life, he said quietly. You could have left me in that warehouse to bleed out. Could have called the police, collected a reward, but you didn't. You stopped the bleeding, stitched me up with fishing line because that's all we had. Stayed with me until the fever broke. You were dying. I was, and you kept me alive. His eyes searched mine. I asked you afterward why you did it. Remember what you said? I did. I said everyone deserves a chance. Everyone deserves a chance. He repeated it like a prayer. No one had ever said that to me before. My whole life I was either useful or I was dead weight. But you looked at me like I was just a person. Someone worth saving. His thumb was still moving against my cheek, gentle. So gentle from hands that had killed people. I let you go because I thought that was the right thing. He continued. Thought keeping you away from my world was protecting you. But I was wrong. You were already in my world the second you touched me. And now, his other hand moved to my stomach, just rested there. Now we're connected in a way I can't undo. This isn't a fairy tale, Cameron. You can't just marry someone to keep them safe. No. But I can marry someone to keep my son alive. His hand dropped, stepped back, professional distance returning. Think about it rationally. What do you have out there? A nursing job that pays minimum wage. An apartment in a building I own. No family except a sister in Seattle you haven't spoken to in 2 years. No resources, no protection, no way to fight what's coming. Each word hit like a slap. Because it was true. And here, I asked, my voice sounded hollow. Here you have everything: security, money. A future for Max where he doesn't grow up wondering where his next meal comes from. A future where his father is a criminal. A future where his father is alive. Cameron's eyes went cold. I'm not asking you to love me, Reina. I'm asking you to be smart. This isn't about romance. It's about survival. I walked to the window, looked out at the gardens below. Moonlight turning everything silver. A prison made of flowers. What happened to the doctor? I asked. Dr. Volkov, the one who took the bribe. Silence behind me. Cameron, what happened to him? He's been dealt with. The casual way he said it, like discussing the weather. You killed him. I made sure he won't be falsifying any more medical records. I closed my eyes. This was the man I'd be tied to. This world of casual violence and cold calculation. If I say yes, the words tasted like metal. If I agree to this, I want terms. Name them. I turned around, looked at him across the room. Max comes first, always. Any decision about his safety, his future, I get equal say. Agreed. I want my own money. An account in my name that you can't touch. Don't. And if I ever want to leave, you won't. He said it with absolute certainty. But if I do, then you take Max and you go. I won't stop you. But I will follow. Because I'm not losing my son twice. At least he was honest. I walked back to the desk. Picked up the whiskey glass he'd poured for me. Drank it in one burning swallow. 1 year, I said. We do this for 1 year. Public marriage, united front, all of it. You eliminate the threat from Victor and whoever else, then we reassess. 1 year is a long time to pretend, then we'd better get good at it. Cameron smiled. Real this time. Small but real. There's one more thing you should know, he said. Of course there was. He pulled a photo from the file on his desk, slid it across. It was me, leaving the hospital 3 days after Max was born. Someone had taken it from across the street. High-powered lens. You could see the exhaustion on my face, the way I clutched Max to my chest. I've had people watching you since the day you left, Cameron said. Making sure you were safe. That you had what you needed. The landlord who never raised your rent. I paid the difference. The promotion at the hospital that came through last month. I made a donation to the board. Ice flooded my veins. You've been controlling my life. I've been protecting it. He picked up the photo, looked at it. You think it's a coincidence that building has functioning locks? That the neighborhood watch actually patrols your street? That Max's pediatrician is one of the best in the city and takes your insurance? You had no right. I had every right. He set the photo down. The moment you walked out of that warehouse, you became the one person I couldn't afford to lose. I just didn't know why until last night. My hands clenched into fists. You should have told me. Would you have stayed if I did? No, I would have run faster. We both knew it. So what now? I asked. Cameron walked to a drawer in his desk, pulled out a small box, velvet, black, opened it. Inside was a ring, diamond so big it looked fake, surrounded by smaller stones that caught the light and threw rainbows across the desk. Now, he said, we make it official. He didn't get down on one knee, didn't make pretty speeches, just held out the box like a contract. Marry me, Reina. Be my wife on paper. Help me keep our son alive. And in return I'll give you everything I have, except freedom. Except freedom. He agreed. The ring glittered. Beautiful and terrible. I thought about Max sleeping upstairs. About the crib that cost thousands. About the future Cameron was offering wrapped in barbed wire. I thought about my apartment with the broken spring, and the stain I could never get out. I thought about being 25 years old and signing my life over to a man I'd slept with once. Okay, I heard myself say. Cameron's eyes widened. Just slightly, like he'd expected me to fight harder. Maybe I should have. He took the ring out of the box. Reached for my hand. I let him. The ring slid onto my finger. Heavy. Cold at first, then warming to my skin. It fit perfectly. Of course it did. He'd probably stolen my ring size from some jewelry store I'd browsed once. There'll be a contract, Cameron said. You'll have lawyers review it. Everything legal and binding. How romantic. Romance is for people who have the luxury of choice. He still held my hand, thumb running over the ring. We have survival. He pulled me closer, slow, giving me time to pull away. I didn't. His other hand came up to my face again, tilted my chin up. I'm gonna kiss you now, he said. For practice. People will expect us to look convincing. For practice, I repeated. For practice. His lips touched mine. Gentle, testing. I remembered this. The taste of whiskey and something uniquely him. The way his hand cradled my face like I was breakable. The kiss deepened. His arm around my waist, pulling me against him. And for just a second, just one stupid, dangerous second, I let myself pretend this was real. That he wanted me for more than just protecting his heir. That this was a choice instead of a cage. He pulled back first, breathing hard. That was. He stopped, swallowed. That'll work. My voice shook. Very convincing. He let me go, stepped back, straightened his tie, professional distance slamming back into place. The ceremony will be next Saturday, he said. Helen will coordinate everything. You'll need a dress, shoes, whatever else. Give her a list. What if I want to plan my own wedding? Then plan it. He walked back to his desk, sat down, back to business. But it happens Saturday, non-negotiable. The longer we wait, the more danger we're in. I looked at the ring on my finger. It caught the light, threw it back. A beautiful shackle. Can I ask you something? I said. Wes, do you actually want this? Any of this? Or is Max just... I struggled for the words. Just an obligation. Cameron looked up from his papers, met my eyes. I spent 32 years believing I'd die alone, he said quietly. No family. No legacy. Just a name people would eventually forget, and I made peace with that, built my entire life around it. He stood, walked around the desk again, stood close. Then you sent me a photo of a baby with my eyes, and suddenly I'm not dying alone anymore. Suddenly I have something worth staying alive for. So no, Reina. Max isn't an obligation. He's the first thing I've ever had that's actually mine. That came from me. That exists because of me, and I'll burn this entire city down before I let anyone take that away. The intensity in his voice made my breath catch. This was dangerous. This passion. This possessive certainty. But it was also real. Maybe the only real thing in this whole calculated arrangement. I should get back, I said. Max will wake up soon. He'll want to eat. Of course. Cameron opened the door for me. Helen will bring breakfast at 7 tomorrow. We'll discuss the ceremony details. I walked past him, stopped in the doorway. Cameron? Yes, that night. In the warehouse, you told me to run. I looked back at him. Were you protecting me? Or were you protecting yourself? He smiled, sad, knowing. Both, he said. Always both. I left him standing there, walked back through the silent hallways to the bedroom where my son slept. Where my prison door was lined with silk. The ring felt heavier with every step. By the time I reached the bedroom, it felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Helen was still in the chair, reading a book. She looked up when I entered. He didn't wake. She said, "Perfect angel, thank you." She stood, smoothed her dress, paused at the door. "Miss Cross, Mr. Green is a complicated man, but he's not a cruel one. Whatever arrangement you've made," she glanced at my hand at the ring. "He'll honor it. He always keeps his word." She left before I could respond. I walked to the crib, looked down at Max. He was sleeping on his back, arms thrown up over his head in complete surrender. So trusting, so innocent. "I'm sorry, baby," I whispered. "I'm sorry you're stuck with us as parents." I slid the ring off my finger, set it on the nightstand, picked up Max, held him close, and let myself cry, quietly, so no one would hear, because tomorrow I'd have to be strong. Tomorrow I'd have to start pretending this was what I wanted. But tonight, just tonight, I could mourn the life I'd never have. The choice I'd never get to make. Outside the window, the moon disappeared behind clouds. The gardens went dark, and somewhere in this massive house, Cameron Green sat in his study, staring at medical reports that proved his family had betrayed him, planning a wedding that was really a declaration of war. To a woman who'd saved his life once, and was now trapped in it forever. I was changing Max's diaper when the explosion hit. The windows rattled. Hard enough that the glass flexed inward before settling back. Max started screaming. I grabbed him, half-dressed, pulled him against my chest. My heart was already racing before my brain caught up. That wasn't thunder. The door burst open. "Marcus," gun drawn, face stone, "get down." I dropped. The floor was cold marble against my knees. Max's screams echoed off the walls. Marcus spoke into his wrist. "East wing secure. Package is safe." Repeat, "Package is safe." Package, he meant Max. Another explosion. Closer this time. The chandelier in the hallway swayed. "What's happening?" "Stay here. Lock the door behind me. Don't open it for anyone except me or Mr. Green." Marcus was already moving back toward the door. "Understand. Where's Cameron?" "Handling it." "He left." The door slammed. I scrambled up, twisted the lock. The deadbolt slid home with a click that sounded too small, too fragile. Max was still crying. I bounced him, paced. The window overlooked the front drive, smoke rising from the west gardens. Black against the morning sky. 3 SUVs were on fire. The ones that had brought me here yesterday. Men in black tactical gear swarmed across the lawn. Some were Cameron's. I recognized the uniforms. Others weren't. Gunfire. The sharp crack of it carrying through the expensive windows. Baby, shh. I pressed my hand over Max's head, like that would protect him from bullets. "It's okay. We're okay." We weren't okay. Someone had just bombed Cameron Green's estate, in broad daylight. My phone. Where was my phone? On the nightstand. I grabbed it. No signal. They'd cut the cell towers. Professional hit. That's what Cameron had called it in the warehouse. This was professional. The door handle rattled. I backed away. Held Max tighter. "Miss Cross." Helen's voice. "Open the door." Marcus said not to. "Marcus is securing the south entrance. Mr. Green sent me to move you to the safe room. Now." I hesitated. The handle rattled again. "Miss Cross, please. We have approximately 90 seconds before they breach the main house." I unlocked the door. Helen stood there, still in her gray dress, completely calm, like explosions were normal. Maybe in this house they were. "This way." She turned, walking fast. "Stay close." We went down the hallway, not toward the main stairs, toward what looked like a linen closet. Helen opened it. Pressed something on the back wall. A panel slid open. Stairs. Going down into darkness. Quickly, I looked back at the bedroom, at the window showing smoke and chaos. What about Cameron? "Oh, Mr. Green can handle himself. You cannot move." She wasn't asking anymore. I went down the stairs. Helen followed, pulling the panel shut behind us. Pitch black for 3 seconds. Then lights flickered on. LED strips along the floor. The stairs went down. Down. At least 30 feet. We emerged into a room. Concrete walls. No windows. Reinforced steel door at the far end. A bunker. Of course Cameron had a bunker. Helen locked the door behind us. 3 separate deadbolts. Then a keypad. She punched in a code. The locks engaged. Heavy mechanical sounds. "We're safe now," she said. The room had supplies. Water. Murray's. A cot in the corner. Medical supplies in a cabinet. And monitors. 6 screens showing different angles of the estate. I watched the firefight unfold in grainy black and white. Cameron's men were pushing back. Whoever had attacked was retreating toward the perimeter wall. But there, on screen 3, a figure in black moving toward the house. Different from the others, smaller, faster, not retreating, infiltrating. Helen, I see it. She pulled out a phone. Different from a cell, some kind of secure line. Marcus, you have a breach. North entrance, single target. I couldn't hear his response, but Helen's face tightened. No, I cannot leave my post. The package is. She stopped, listened, understood. She hung up, looked at me. Stay here. Do not open this door for anyone. If I'm not back in 10 minutes, there's a tunnel behind that cabinet. It leads to the garage. Keys are in the BMWs. Drive until you hit the city. Then disappear. You're leaving. I'm sealing the house. 3 minutes. She was already at the door entering codes. If they get in, you run. Don't hesitate, don't look back, just run. Helen, your son's life depends on it. The door opened. She slipped through. It sealed behind her. I was alone. Max had stopped crying. He was looking around with wide eyes, taking in the concrete walls, the flickering monitors. That's an adventure, I told him. My voice shook. Just an adventure. On the monitors, the figure in black had reached the north entrance. They moved like water, fluid, trained, breached the door in 15 seconds, disappeared into the house. I watched the screens, waiting, counting seconds. 45, 60. Where was Cameron? I scanned the monitors, found him on screen 5, in the study, talking to someone on the phone. He looked calm, completely calm. How was he calm? Screen 3 showed the intruder moving through the halls. They knew the layout, didn't hesitate at intersections, heading toward the east wing, toward where my bedroom was. They weren't here for Cameron, they were here for Max. Have you ever realized you weren't the target, but your child was? That someone looked at your baby and saw a weakness to exploit. Tell me in the comments, when did you understand that becoming a mother made you vulnerable in ways you never imagined? My hands were shaking. I set Max down in the cot, covered him with blankets, looked at the cabinet Helen mentioned, pulled it aside. There was a tunnel, small, concrete, disappeared into darkness. I could run now, grab Max and go, disappear the way I did 3 years ago. But the intruder knew the layout. They'd know about the tunnel too. I'd be running straight into their hands. On screen 3, the figure stopped. Outside my bedroom door, they tested the handle, locked, pulled something from their belt. Small device. Attached it to the lock. 5 seconds later, the door opened. They entered. Gun drawn, swept the room, found it empty. The figure stood still for a moment, then tilted their head, listening. They walked to the closet, the linen closet, found the panel. No, I watched them examine it. Run gloved hands along the edges, find the pressure point. The panel slid open. They disappeared down the stairs. Hitting here, I looked at the steel door, at the 3 deadbolts, at the keypad. How long would it hold? On screen 1, Cameron was moving, finally, running through the halls toward the east wing. He knew, somehow he knew. On screen 3, the figure emerged into the hallway outside the bunker. Stood in front of the door, attached another device, bigger this time, breaching charge. I had maybe 30 seconds. I grabbed Max, ran to the tunnel. The darkness swallowed us immediately. Behind me, a muffled boom. The bunker door held, but the sound echoed through the tunnel. I ran blind. One hand on the wall, one holding Max. He was crying again. The sound bounced off concrete. 20 feet, 30. The tunnel curved, light ahead, faint but there. I ran toward it, burst out into the garage. Just like Helen said, 6 cars. The BMW was the third one, black, keys in the ignition. I yanked open the back door. No car seat, no time. Laid Max on the back seat, covered him with my jacket, slid into the driver's seat. The engine roared to life. Garage door. Where was the, there, button on the wall? I pressed it. The door started rising. In the rearview mirror, movement. The figure in black emerged from the tunnel. Gun up, I floored it. The BMW shot forward. The garage door was only halfway up. I ducked, scraped the roof going under. Metal screaming. Then I was out, on the driveway, smoke everywhere. The gates were closed, heavy iron, designed to stop cars. I aimed straight for them. Hold on, baby! Impact. The airbag exploded in my face. Glass shattered, but the gates bent, gave way. The BMW pushed through. I was on the road, the real road, outside the estate. Max was screaming, high-pitched terror screams. I pulled over, hands shaking so bad I could barely grip the wheel, reached back. He was okay. Scared but okay. I got you. Mommy's got you. My phone buzzed. Somehow had signal now. Cameron. I answered. Where are you? Not angry. Terrified. I'm out. We're out. Someone was coming for Max and I know. I saw the monitors. Are you hurt? No. We're. My voice broke. We're okay. Stay on the line. I'm tracking your phone. Don't move. Cameron. Who were they? Victor. The word came out like a curse. He sent a specialist. Someone who's breached government facilities. I didn't think he'd move this fast. He tried to kill Max. He tried to take Max. Leverage. Kill me, claim the organization. Raise my son as his own. He made a mistake. The coldness in Cameron's voice made my blood freeze. What are you going to do? What I should have done 6 years ago. The line went dead. I sat there. On the side of the road, smoke from the estate visible in the rearview mirror. 3 black SUVs pulled up, new ones, undamaged. Marcus got out of the first one, walked to my window. I rolled it down. Mr. Green wants you at the secondary location. It's secure. No one knows about it except Inner Circle. What about Cameron? How's handling the situation? Handling it how? Miss Cross. Marcus's face was stone. You don't want to know. Trust me. He opened my door. Helped me out. Got Max from the back seat. We transferred to the SUV. This one had a car seat already installed. Of course it did. Cameron thought of everything. The convoy started moving. Away from the estate. Into the city. I looked back once. The mansion was still there. Still standing. But something had changed. Some invisible line had been crossed. Cameron said 3 options. Kill Victor. Start a war. He'd made his choice. We drove for 40 minutes. To a building downtown. Luxury high-rise. The kind with doorman and security cameras. Top floor. The penthouse. Marcus led us inside. More guards. Everywhere in the hallway. By the elevators. At the door. The penthouse was smaller than the estate. But just as expensive. Floor to ceiling windows overlooking the city. You'll stay here until Mr. Green arrives, Marcus said. Everything you need has been provided. He left, the door locked behind him. I walked through the rooms. Bedroom, nursery, kitchen. The nursery had the same crib from the estate. Someone had moved it. Fast, I put Max down. He was exhausted from screaming. Fell asleep almost immediately. I stood by the window. Watched the city. Somewhere out there, Cameron was doing things I didn't want to imagine. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. You can't hide him forever. The boy belongs to this family. One way or another. I dropped the phone. It clattered on the hardwood. Picked it up with shaking hands. Another text. Your time as his mother is running out. Make peace with it. I blocked the number. Hands trembling. The phone rang immediately. Same unknown number. I answered. Listen very carefully. A man's voice. Older, cultured. I'm gonna make you an offer. One time only. Who is this? Victor Green, Cameron's uncle, and your future father-in-law, if my nephew survives long enough to go through with this ridiculous wedding. My throat closed. I have nothing to say to you. Then listen. The boy is a Green. He belongs with family. Real family. Not some nurse who happened to get pregnant during a one-night stand. He's my son. He's the heir to the Green Empire. Do you have any idea what that means? The weight of it, the responsibility. Victor's voice was smooth, reasonable. You're not equipped to raise him in this world, but I am. Let me take him. Raise him properly, and in return, I'll make sure you're compensated, handsomely. You can disappear. Start over somewhere Cameron will never find you. You tried to kill him today. I tried to protect him from the war Cameron is about to start. A war that will get that child killed. This is your one chance, Reina. Walk away. Take the money. Save yourself, because when the bodies start dropping, Cameron won't be able to protect you. He'll be too busy protecting himself. The line went dead. I stood there, phone in my hand, heart racing. The city sprawled below. Millions of people living normal lives. And I was trapped in this world of bombs and threats and men who saw my son as a chess piece. The door opened. I spun around. Cameron stood there. His suit was torn, blood on his collar, not his blood. He looked at me. Just looked, then walked across the room, pulled me into his arms. I should have pushed him away. Should have demanded answers. Instead I collapsed against him. Started shaking. It's done, he whispered into my hair. Victor won't be a problem anymore. What did you do? What I had to. He pulled back, cupped my face. You and Max are safe now. That's all that matters. Your uncle called me. He said. I know what he said. He called from a burner phone thinking I couldn't trace it. Cameron's smile was ice. He was wrong. Cameron, don't ask me questions you don't want answers to. His thumb brushed my cheekbone. Just know that anyone who threatens my family answers to me. Personally. Family. That word again. The wedding is still on, he said. Saturday non-negotiable. After today everyone needs to see that we're united. That touching you or Max means death. People died today. Yes, they did. And more will die before this is over. That's the world we live in. He let me go. Walked to the window. I told you this would happen. Told you that being near me was dangerous. You didn't believe me. I believed you. Then why are you still here? He turned. Eyes hard. The door's not locked. Marcus would drive you anywhere you want to go. You could leave right now. Take Max. Disappear. I wouldn't stop you. You said. I said I wouldn't stop you. I didn't say I wouldn't follow. But you'd have a head start. Maybe enough to get somewhere safe before I found you. So why aren't you running? I looked at him. At this man covered in blood. Who just killed people to protect us. Who was offering me an out. Because running didn't work last time. I said quietly. Because wherever I go, this follows, and because, I stopped. The words stuck in my throat. Because what? Because Max deserves a father. Even if his father is a monster. Cameron flinched. Actually flinched. I'm not asking you to love me, he said, voice rough. I'm not even asking you to like me. I'm just asking you to stay for him. He walked past me, toward the nursery. I followed. Max was still asleep. Perfect and peaceful. Cameron stood over the crib, looking down at his son. My father died when I was 8, he said, not looking at me. Killed by his own brother in a power play. Uncle Victor actually, though it was never proven. I grew up knowing that family would kill you faster than enemies. That blood meant nothing except shared genetics. His hand hovered over Max. Not quite touching. I swore I'd never have kids, never put someone through what I went through. But here he is, existing anyway. Proof that I'm not in control of anything. Cameron, I don't know how to be a father. He finally touched Max, just his finger against the baby's hand. Max grabbed it in his sleep. I don't know how to be anything except what I am, but I'm going to try, for him. To be better than what made me. The vulnerability in his voice cracked something in my chest. I walked over, stood next to him. Then we'll figure it out together, I said. He looked at me. Really looked. You're not running. No, I'm not running. Even after today. Especially after today. I touched the ring still on my finger. You said marriage was a declaration. That it meant you'd burn everything to keep us safe. Well, you proved it. So I'm in. For real this time. Not just for Max, for this. Whatever this is. Cameron's eyes widened, like I'd surprised him. Good. He wasn't the only one who could make calculated moves. This is a mistake. He's small. Uncertain. Probably. I smiled back. But it's our mistake. He kissed me. Slow this time. No urgency. No practice. Just a kiss between two people who'd chosen each other despite every reason not to. When we pulled apart, Max was awake. Looking up at both of us with those dark eyes. Cameron picked him up. Careful. Like he'd practiced. Hey, he whispered. Hey little man, I'm your dad, and I'm gonna keep you safe. I promise. Max grabbed his nose. Cameron laughed. Actual laughter. I took a picture with my phone. Captured it. This moment. This strange, broken family. Outside the window the sun was setting, painting the city in orange and red. Tomorrow we'd plan a wedding. Tomorrow we'd start this war, Cameron promised. But tonight, just tonight, we were okay. The three of us together. A monster, a nurse, and a baby who deserved better, but who'd somehow ended up with us instead. 6 I woke up at 3 a.m. to the sound of glass breaking. My body moved before my brain caught up. Rolled out of bed, grabbed Max from the bassinet beside me, pressed myself against the wall. The penthouse was dark, silent except for my breathing. Then footsteps. In the living room, heavy, male, moving slowly. I looked for a weapon. Anything. A lamp. The legs unscrewed easily, designed to be decorative, not functional. Great. The footsteps got closer. I held Max tighter, his warmth against my chest. He didn't wake. Slept through everything, this kid. The bedroom door opened. Cameron stood there, still in his clothes from yesterday, holding something. A bottle. He was drunk, he said. Not slurred, just tired. Dropped the glass. I let out the breath I'd been holding, set the lamp leg down. You scared me. I know. I'm sorry. He stayed in the doorway, swaying slightly. I didn't mean to wake you. What are you doing? Couldn't sleep. He held up the bottle. Half empty. Thought this would help. It didn't. I'd never seen him like this. In the warehouse he'd been in shock. At the estate he'd been controlled. But this was something breaking. Cameron. I killed 4 people today. He said it matter of fact, like reporting the weather. Well, technically 5. But 1 was already dying, so I'm not sure that counts. My stomach twisted. You should sit down. I should leave. Let you sleep. He looked at Max. I wanted to check on him. Make sure he was real. That today actually happened. He walked into the room, unsteady. Sat on the edge of the bed. I put Max back in the bassinet, covered him with the blanket, turned to Cameron. He was staring at his hands, turning them over, looking at his palms. I washed them 6 times, he said quietly. Still feel dirty. I sat next to him. Not touching, just close. What happened today? Really? You don't want to know? Maybe I need to. He looked at me, eyes bloodshot, face haggard. Victor had a compound, outside the city. I went there with 12 men, he had 20. We went in through the south entrance while Marcus's team breached the north. It was supposed to be quick. Surgical, in and out. But it wasn't. He knew we were coming. Had reinforcements. Mercs from the Kozlov family. Professional killers. Cameron's jaw tightened. We were pinned down for 40 minutes. I lost 3 men. Good men. Men who'd been with me for years. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry, be aware. This is what your life looks like now. People dying because of decisions I make. Because of who I am. He stood up, paced, 3 steps to the window, 3 steps back. I found Victor in his study. behind his desk, like he was waiting for me. Cameron's voice went flat, empty. We had your photo. The one you sent. He'd already had it printed, framed. Said Max looked like my father. Said he'd make sure the boy grew up right. Learned the business properly. What did you do? I shot him. Simple, direct, 3 times. Center mass, then once more to be sure. The room felt smaller, the air thicker. He was your uncle. He was a threat to my son. Cameron stopped pacing, looked at me. You think that makes me a monster, and you're right. I am. But I'm a monster who keeps his family alive. I should have been horrified. Should have grabbed Max and run. But I'd seen the security footage. Seen someone breach a fortified estate to take my baby. Violence had a different meaning when it was protecting your child. Come here, I said. Cameron stared at me, confused. You're exhausted. You're drunk, and you're spiraling, so come here. Sit down before you fall down. He obeyed. Sat heavily on the bed. I moved behind him. Started unbuttoning his shirt. What are you? You can't sleep in this. It's got blood on it. His hands came up. Stopped mine. You don't have to. I'm a nurse, Cameron. I've seen blood, and bodies, and men falling apart. I pushed his hands away gently. Kept unbuttoning. Let me help. He didn't fight. Just sat there while I peeled the shirt off. His back was a map of scars. Old ones I remembered from the warehouse. New ones I didn't. I traced one. Long. Diagonal across his shoulder blade knife fight. 2 years ago. Another. Small. Circular. Near his ribs. Bullet. Went through lucky. A third. Jagged. Across his lower back. Broken bottle. Bar fight when I was 19. Each scar was a story. A moment he could have died but didn't. You're a survivor, I said quietly. I'm a killer. Both things can be true. I got up. Found a t-shirt in the dresser. One of the ones that had mysteriously appeared with all the other clothes. Helped him into it. He let me. This dangerous man. Letting me dress him like a child. Lee down. I should go back to my room. Lee down, Cameron. He did. Stretched out on his side, facing Max's bassinet. I lay down next to him. Left space between us. For a while we just breathed. The room quiet except for Max's little snores. I don't know how to do this, Cameron said into the darkness. Be a father. Be a husband. Be anything except what I've always been. Then we'll learn together. You make it sound simple. It's not. But maybe it doesn't have to be complicated either. He rolled over. Faced me. Close enough I could feel his breath. Why aren't you afraid of me? Who says I'm not? You don't act like it. Because I've seen you afraid too. I touched his face. The stubble rough under my fingers. In the warehouse. When you thought you were dying, you grabbed my hand and you were terrified. So I know you're not just the monster. You're also the man who was scared to die alone. His eyes closed. Like the words hurt. I was 27 when that happened. Thought I had everything figured out. Then I'm bleeding out on a concrete floor, holding the hand of a stranger, realizing I wasted my whole life building walls. You survived. You saved me. You saved yourself. I just bought you time. He opened his eyes. Looked at me. I don't deserve you. Probably not. But Max deserves a father who's trying. So that's what you're gonna be. Cameron pulled me closer, wrapped his arm around me. We lay there, tangled together. His heartbeat steady against my back. The wedding planner comes tomorrow. He murmured. Helen scheduled it. Apparently you need to try on dresses. Can't wait. You're being sarcastic. Little bit. He laughed quiet, his chest vibrating against me. This wasn't how I pictured my life. What did you picture? Being in a shootout somewhere. Or prison. Never thought I'd make it to 35. Definitely never thought I'd have a son, or a fiancé who tolerates me. Tolerance is generous. What would you call it then? I thought about it, really thought. Choosing, I said finally. I'm choosing this, choosing you, choosing us. His arm tightened around me. Don't regret it. Ask me again in a year. We fell asleep like that. 2 people who should have been strangers, connected by a baby and bad decisions. When I woke up, sunlight was streaming through the windows. Cameron was gone, but Max was awake. Looking around with those big eyes, I picked him up, changed him, fed him. Normal morning routine in an abnormal life. The bedroom door opened. Helen appeared with a tray. Breakfast, Miss Cross. Green asked me to let you know he had business to attend to but will return by noon. The wedding planner arrives at 10. She set the tray on the side table. Coffee, toast, fruit. Where did Cameron go? To handle the aftermath of yesterday's events. There are arrangements to be made. Arrangements. Probably code for bodies to dispose of. Is it always like this? I asked. The violence. The threats. Helen paused, smoothed her already perfect dress. Her Mr. Green's life has been complicated since the day he was born. His father raised him to be hard. His mother tried to make him soft. He became both. A dangerous combination. You've known him a long time. Since he was 16. I was his father's housekeeper. Stayed on after the elder Mr. Green died. Watched Cameron turn from an angry boy into an angry man. But yesterday, when he got the alert about the breach, I saw something I haven't seen in years. What? Real fear. Not for himself. For you and the baby. Helen looked at Max. That child has already changed him. Whether you see it yet or not. She left before I could respond. I fed Max. Burped him. Played with him on a blanket on the floor. He was rolling over now. Getting stronger every day. Had his father's eyes, his father's stubborn chin. My nose though. Small victory. At 9:45 someone knocked. I opened the door to a woman in her 50s. Expensive suit. Tablet in hand. Measuring tape around her neck. Rain across. I'm Diane, your wedding planner. Mr. Green hired me to make this the event of the season. She swept into the room. We have 6 days. 6. Most couples take 6 months. But I've worked miracles with less. She pulled up photos on her tablet. Venues, flowers, cakes. What's your vision? Traditional, modern, intimate gathering or full society wedding? I stared at the pictures. They all looked the same. Generic. Perfect. I don't. Let me rephrase. What does Mr. Green want? He wants everyone to know we're together. United front. Public declaration. So full society wedding. Understood. Diane tapped notes. West list is already being compiled. 200 minimum. All the families, business associates, politicians Mr. Green has in his pocket. 200 people. As modest for a Green family wedding. His father's wedding had 500. She pulled up more photos. Now the dress. I've contacted 3 designers. They're bringing samples this afternoon. What's your size? I don't know. 6, 8? We'll measure properly. Can't have an ill-fitting dress in the photos. The press will have a field day. Press. Oh yes, this wedding will be front page news. Cameron Green, the city's most eligible bachelor and notorious businessman, finally settling down. Diane smiled. Sharp. Everyone will want to know who caught him. My stomach churned. I need air. Miss Cross, just, give me a minute. I walked to the balcony. Stepped outside. The city spread below. 40 stories up. Too high to jump. Not that I would. But the thought crossed my mind. 200 people. Press coverage. Front page news. This was real. Actually happening. Have you ever felt like your life was a runaway train, and you couldn't find the brake? Tell me in the comments. When did you realize the choice you made was bigger than you thought? Max started crying inside. That hungry cry went back in. Diane was examining the room like she was cataloging evidence. Forgive me, but this penthouse won't do for photos. Too modern. Too cold. We'll need to use the estate. The garden specifically. Natural lighting. Classic elegance. The estate was attacked yesterday. I'm aware. Mr. Green assured me it's been secured. Completely safe now. The photographers won't notice anything amiss. Of course they wouldn't. Cameron probably had people scrubbing blood off the driveway right now. I picked up Max, fed him while Diane went through details. I stopped listening to colors, flowers, music, cake flavors. None of it mattered. This wasn't a real wedding. It was theater. The door and walked in. He looked better than last night. Showered, shaved, back in a suit. But I could see the tiredness in his eyes, the weight. Diane. He nodded. Thank you for coming on short notice. Mr. Green, I was just discussing arrangements with Miss Cross. Good. Whatever she wants, make it happen. Actually, Diane glanced at me. Perhaps you both should decide together. This is your wedding after all. Cameron looked at me. I looked back. We both knew the truth. This wasn't our wedding. It was his declaration. The gardens. I said. At the estate, that's fine. Keep it elegant, simple. Nothing too flashy. Simple but impactful. Diane corrected. This needs to look like a love match, not a business. Jaw tightened. Kate is a love match. The lie came out smooth. Practiced. Diane smiled. Of course, my apologies. I'll leave you two to discuss. The dress designers arrive at 2. I'll return then. She left. Suddenly the room felt too small. Cameron stood by the window, looking out, always looking out. You don't have to do this, he said quietly. I can call it off. Find another way. Like, what? I don't know. But if this isn't what you want, what I want doesn't matter anymore. I set Max down for tummy time. What matters is keeping him safe, and apparently that requires a spectacle. Raina, I'm fine. Really, I wasn't. It's just a lot. He crossed the room, knelt beside me, touched Max's back while the baby tried to lift his head. He's getting stronger, Cameron said, wonder in his voice. Look at him. Max pushed up on his arms, held himself up for 3 seconds before collapsing back down. Cameron laughed. Genuine delight. He's going to be crawling soon. Then walking. Then I'll never catch him. Better start practicing. He looked at me, smiled. Real this time. Will you teach me? Teach you what? Everything. How to change diapers, make bottles, read to him. All of it. I want to be good at this. At being his father. My chest tightened. This man who'd killed 5 people yesterday was asking me to teach him how to care for a baby. Okay, I said. Lesson 1 bottle prep. I walked to the kitchen. Cameron followed, showed him the formula, the measurements. how to test the temperature on his wrist. His hands were huge holding the bottle. Awkward, unsure, like this. Little less, you'll overfeed him. He adjusted, concentrated like he was defusing a bomb. Max started fussing. Hungry again already. Your turn, I said. Cameron picked him up, careful. Cradled him the way I'd shown him. Offered the bottle. Max latched on. Started drinking. Cameron's face transformed. Pure in, he's eating. I'm doing it. You're doing it. We stood there, in the kitchen, watching Max eat. Normal, domestic, strange. I could get used to this. Cameron said softly. Don't. We're not a normal family. Maybe we could be. After Saturday. After everyone knows, maybe we could just be. He was dreaming. We both knew it. But I let him dream anyway. Because for just a moment, in this kitchen, feeding our son, we were normal. A mother, a father, a baby. Not a nurse, a criminal, and an heir. Just us. The moment shattered when Cameron's phone rang. He answered with his free hand still holding Max. Green. Pause. When's? I'll handle it. He hung up. The softness drained from his face. What is it? Victor's family. They're contesting his death. Calling for a tribunal. Claiming I acted without cause. But he attacked us. They're claiming self-defense. That I instigated. Cameron handed Max back to me. I need to go. Meeting with the council in an hour. The council. The 5 families who run this city's underworld. They settle disputes. Keep the peace. He grabbed his jacket. If they rule against me, this wedding won't matter. I'll be dead by Monday. Cameron, stay here. Marcus is outside. Don't open the door for anyone else. He kissed my forehead. Quick, distant, then he was gone. I stood there holding Max. The bottle half finished. Normal had lasted exactly 4 minutes. I walked to the window. Watched Cameron's car pull away. 40 stories below, the city kept moving. Oblivious to the war happening in its shadows, I looked at Max. He was dozing. Milk drunk and satisfied. Your father is complicated, I whispered. But he's trying. That has to count for something. Max yawned. Unimpressed. Fair enough. The afternoon disappeared in a blur of designers and dresses and decisions I didn't care about. Diane picked everything. I just nodded. By 6 p.m., it was done. The dress was chosen. White, elegant, expensive. I looked like a bride in the mirror. I felt like a fraud. Cameron came back at 7, exhausted, but alive. How did it go? I asked. They ruled in my favor. Victor acted first. I responded appropriately. He loosened his tie. But it was close. 2 votes against. If one more person had sided with them. But they didn't. No, they didn't. He looked at me. The wedding helped. Showing I have something to protect. Something worth fighting for. Made me look less like a monster and more like a man. So I'm propaganda. Your survival. He crossed to me. Pulled me close. Mine and yours and his. I let him hold me. Because he needed it. Because I needed it. Because tomorrow we'd do it all again. The fighting. The fear. The pretending. But tonight, just tonight, we could be tired together. 2 people holding each other up. Building something fragile from broken pieces. Outside, the city glittered. Beautiful and dangerous. Just like everything else in our lives. 70. The wedding was in 6 hours. I was folding Max's onesies. Same pile. Over and over. Fold, unfold, fold again. The fabric was soft. Worn from too many washes. I'd brought them from the apartment. Refused to use the expensive ones Helen kept buying. These smelled like home. Like the life before. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. You're going to wear a hole in that one. I looked up. Cameron stood in the doorway. Not in his tux yet. Just dark pants and a white shirt. Sleeves rolled up. He looked younger like this. Less dangerous. Almost normal. Couldn't sleep, I said. Me neither. He walked and sat on the floor next to me. Picked up a onesie. Started folding. Wrong. Completely wrong. I took it from him. Fixed it. I'm hopeless at this, he said. You're learning. We folded in silence. The pile growing between us. Outside the window, the sun was starting to rise. Pink and orange bleeding into gray. Last night I drove past your old apartment, Cameron said. Not looking at me. Eyes on the clothes. The building's being renovated. New owners bought it. They're turning it into condos. Good. It was falling apart anyway. I remembered which window was yours. 4th floor. Fire escape outside. You had a plant on it. A succulent. It died. I know. I watched it die over 3 months. Watch you forget to water it. Too tired from work. Too busy with Max. I almost bought you a new one. Had someone deliver it. Then I realized that would be insane. I stopped folding. Looked at him. You watched my apartment for 3 years. I told you. I needed to know you were safe. That's not protection. That's stalking. I know. He finally met my eyes. I know what I am, Reina. I've known for a long time. And still you're here. About to marry me in. He checked his watch. 5 hours and 42 minutes. Cold feet. Frozen. He smiled. Sad. But not about marrying you. About what it means. Once you have my name, you have my enemies. My past. All the blood on my hands becomes blood on yours too. I set down the onesie. Turned to face him fully. I've been thinking about that night. The warehouse. You remember what you said when I finished stitching you up? I said thank you. Before that, when the fever was bad, you were delirious. I touched his hand. You said I'm so tired of being alone, over and over. Like a prayer. Cameron's jaw tightened. I don't remember that. I do. Because I understood. I was alone too. Different reasons. But the same empty feeling. Maybe that's why I didn't run. Not really. Because being alone was worse than being with you. He pulled me closer. Kissed my forehead. That's the saddest reason for a marriage I've ever heard. What's yours? I'm marrying you because if I don't, I'll spend the rest of my life wondering what we could have been. He tilted my chin up. And because when I look at you holding our son, I see what I could have had if I'd made different choices. And I want that. I want it so badly it terrifies me. The honesty in his voice cracked something open in my chest. I'm scared, I admitted. Of all of this. Of losing myself in your world. Of Max growing up thinking violence is normal. It won't be normal. We'll make sure of that. How? You just killed your uncle. To protect him. To protect you. And I'd do it again. Cameron's eyes went hard. But that doesn't mean Max has to follow the same path. He can be different. Better. We'll make sure he has choices I never had. Max started crying. That 5 a.m. hungry cry. I got up, went to the bassinet, picked him up. Cameron watched me feed him. That expression on his face, the one that still surprised me. Softness. When did you stop seeing someone as who they were and start seeing who they could become? Tell me in the comments, at what point does hope become more powerful than fear? I need to tell you something, Cameron said. Before the ceremony. Before it's too late to walk away. My stomach dropped. What? There were 2 other women. Before you. Long before. He stood, paced. One was when I was 20. She got pregnant. Lost the baby at 3 months. Left me the same day. Said she couldn't do it. Couldn't be with someone like me. Cameron. The second was 5 years ago. Lasted 6 months. She said she loved me. Right up until the FBI offered her immunity to testify against me. She wore a wire for 8 weeks. Recorded everything. What happened to her? She went into witness protection. New name. New life. I let her go. Because despite everything I understood, being with me was a death sentence. She chose to live. He stopped pacing. Looked at me. I'm telling you this because you need to understand. Everyone I've ever cared about either died or ran. And the ones who ran were the smart ones. So if you want to run, if you want to take Max and disappear before this becomes permanent, I'll help you. I'll give you money. New identities. Whatever you need. You're giving me an out. Now, on our wedding day, I'm giving you a choice. Real choice. Not the forced one from before. I looked at Max. At his perfect face. His father's eyes. Thought about the apartment with the dead plant. The double shifts. The exhaustion. The loneliness. Then I thought about yesterday. Cameron on the kitchen floor, learning to fold baby clothes. The way he held Max like he was made of glass. The fear in his eyes when he thought we were in danger. I'm not running. I said. Reina. I'm not running because I'm tired of running. I've been running my whole life. From my family. From commitment. From anything that might hurt me. I stood up, still holding Max. But you know what? Getting hurt is part of living. And I'm tired of just surviving. I want to live. Even if it's messy, even if it's dangerous. Cameron stared at me. You're insane. Probably. But I'm your kind of insane. He laughed. Actual laughter. Crossed the room. Wrapped his arms around both of us. We stood like that. A strange little circle. Father, mother, son. 5 hours. He whispered. Then you're stuck with me. I'm already stuck with you. Legally stuck. I agreed. The sun was fully up now. Light streaming through the windows. Helen knocked. Entered without waiting. Miss Cross. The hair stylist is here. And the makeup artist. And Diane wants to review the timeline. She looked at Cameron. Mr. Green, your brother called. He's arrived from London. Asking to see you. I don't have a brother. Your half-brother, James. Your father's son from his first marriage. Cameron's face went blank. James is here, in the lobby. Should I send him up? Cameron looked at me. Give us 10 minutes. Please. Helen nodded. Left. You have a brother? I asked. Had. Past tense. Haven't seen him in 15 years. He left after our father died. Wanted nothing to do with the family business. Moved to London. Changed his name. We had an agreement. He stays gone. I don't pull him back in. So why is he here now? The elevator dinged. The doors opened. A man stepped out. Shorter than Cameron. Lighter hair. But the same eyes. The same jaw. Brothers. Definitely brothers. James. Cameron's voice was flat. Controlled. Cham. James smiled. Nervous. Congratulations. I heard you were getting married. Thought I should? He stopped. Saw me. Saw Max. Is that my son? Yes. James's eyes widened. You have a son. Dougal, but I thought, the doctor said. They lied. Long story. Cameron stepped forward, blocking us slightly. Protective. Why are you really here? I told you. Your wedding. You haven't spoken to me in 15 years. Try again. James's smile faded. He pulled an envelope from his jacket, handed it to Cameron. Uncle Victor's will. It was delivered to me as executor. Cameron opened it. Read. His face got darker with each line. Son of a bitch. What? I asked. Victor left everything to James. The properties. The territories. Cameron looked up. He's trying to force you back into the family. I don't want it. Doesn't matter. It's yours now. Legally. Which means you're a target. Every enemy Victor had will come for you. Every rival who wants that territory will use you as a bargaining chip. James went pale. I didn't ask for this. No one asks for this. It just happens. Cameron folded the will, handed it back. You have two choices. Take it and learn to survive. Or sign it all over to me and go back to London. If I sign it over, you're out. Completely. No more ties to the family. No more danger. You get to keep your normal life. James looked at the envelope. At Cameron. At me and Max. And if I take it, then you stay. You learn the business. You become what our father wanted you to be. Cameron's voice softened. And you get to be part of Max's life. Uncle James. For real this time. The offer hung in the air. James looked at Max. Really looked. He has Dad's smile. I know. And your eyes. Yeah. James was quiet for a long moment. Then he tore the envelope in half. I'm going back to London. Tomorrow. After the wedding. He met Cameron's eyes. But I want to be invited back. For birthdays. Holidays, the important stuff. I don't want the business, but I want to know my nephew. Cameron relaxed. Just slightly. Deal. They shook hands. Awkward. Formal. Then James pulled him into a hug. Cameron went stiff. Then slowly hugged back. When they separated, both had wet eyes. I should go, James said. Let you get ready. I'll see you at the ceremony. He left. The elevator doors closed. Cameron stood there, staring at nothing. You okay? I asked. I haven't seen him since I was 20, since Dad's funeral. He looked at me across the grave and said, you're just like him. You'll end up just like him. Then he left. And now he's coming to my wedding. Wants to know his nephew. Chose family over money. Cameron laughed. Disbelief. Maybe people can change. Maybe they can. Helen appeared again. Miss Cross. Really? The stylists are getting impatient. Right. Yes. Coming. I handed Max to Cameron. Your turn. Keep him entertained while I get tortured with hot irons. Is that what they do? You really don't know anything about weddings, do you? I know they end with you being my wife. That's all that matters. He said it so simply, so honestly. My chest tightened. I'll see you at the altar, Raina. He caught my hand. Thank you, for staying, for choosing this, for choosing us. Thank you for being worth choosing. I pulled away before I started crying, followed Helen to the bedroom that had been converted into a beauty station. 3 hours disappeared in a blur of hairspray and foundation, and a dress that cost more than my nursing degree. When I finally looked in the mirror, I didn't recognize myself. The woman staring back was elegant, polished, beautiful, a bride, perfect. Deanne declared. Absolutely perfect. Green won't know what hit him. I touched the dress. Silk and lace. Delicate. Nothing like me. But maybe that was the point. Today I became someone new. Mrs. Cameron Green. The name felt foreign in my mind. 5 minutes. Helen said. The cars are ready. We drove to the estate. The same one that had been bombed 5 days ago. You couldn't tell. The gardens were perfect. Flowers everywhere. White chairs in neat rows. A string quartet warming up. 200 people mingling, drinking champagne. Wearing designer clothes. I recognized some from the news. Politicians, business owners, people who pretended not to know what Cameron really did, and others, men with hard eyes and expensive suits, the 5 families, the council, here to witness, to judge. I was led to a back room, where brides wait before walking down the aisle. Through the window I could see Cameron, at the altar, in a black tux that fit him perfectly. He looked terrified. Good. I wasn't the only one. Music started. The wedding march. That's your cue, Diane whispered. I picked up the bouquet. White roses. Simple. Classic. The doors opened. 200 faces turned to look at me, but I only saw one. Cameron. At the end of a very long aisle. Waiting. I started walking. 1 step. Then another. Each step felt like a choice. A commitment. I could still run. Turn around. Disappear into the crowd. But I didn't. I kept walking. Toward the man who'd killed for me. Who'd protected me. Who'd offered me a way out even when he desperately wanted me to stay. I reached the altar. Cameron took my hand. Squeezed it. You look. His voice cracked. You look beautiful. You clean up okay yourself. The officiant started talking. Words about love and commitment and forever. I barely heard them. Just focused on Cameron's hand in mine. Solid. Real. Do you, Cameron Alexander Green, take this woman? I do. He said it before the officiant finished, eager. Certain laughter rippled through the crowd. And do you, Raina Marie Cross, take this man? I looked at Cameron, at his eyes, saw the fear there, The hope, saw the man beneath the monster. I do. He slid the ring onto my finger, different from the engagement ring. Simpler. A platinum band with small diamonds. It fit perfectly. Of course it did. I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may. Cameron kissed me before that sentence finished too. The crowd erupted. Applause. Cheers. We pulled apart, both breathing hard. We did it, he whispered. We did it, I agreed. The reception was a blur. Dancing toasts, cake cutting for photos. James gave a speech about family and second chances. Marcus raised a glass to the woman who tamed the beast. Helen cried, actual tears. Dabbed them away with a handkerchief, and through it all, Max slept in a bassinet near our table, oblivious to the spectacle. As the sun set, Cameron pulled me onto the dance floor. One more dance, he said, before all these people leave and it's just us again. We swayed to music I didn't recognize. Slow. Gentle. I asked, now we go home, put Max to bed, and he paused, smiled. We figured out one day at a time. That's not very specific. I know. But it's honest. He pulled me closer. I can't promise you easy. I can't promise you safe. But I can promise you this, I will spend every day trying to be the man you deserve, the father Max deserves, and if you fail, then you remind me. You keep me human, keep me from becoming what I was before you. The song ended. The guests started leaving, slowly, in groups. By 10 p.m. the estate was empty except for us and the staff. We walked through the gardens, still in our wedding clothes, Max asleep in Cameron's arms. Look at this, Cameron said, stopped at a fountain. 3 months ago I was alone, empty house, empty life, and now, he looked at Max, at me. Now I have everything. Everything is a strong word. It's the right word. He sat on the edge of the fountain, carefully, so he wouldn't wake the baby. I sat next to him, leaned against his shoulder. The water behind us made soft sounds. Peaceful. I love you, Cameron said quietly. I know that wasn't part of the deal. I know this started as protection, survival. But somewhere between the bombs and the threats and learning to fold baby clothes, I fell in love with you. My heart stopped, then started again. Faster. You don't have to say it back, he continued. I just needed you to know. Needed it to be real, at least for me. I turned to look at him. At this complicated, dangerous, gentle man. I don't know if I love you yet, I said honestly, but I know I'm choosing you. Every day, every moment. And maybe that's what love is. Not the lightning bolt, but the steady choice to stay. Cameron smiled. I'll take it. We sat there as the moon rose, as the stars came out. A family, strange and broken and real. Come on, I finally said. Let's take our son home. Home, Cameron repeated, testing the word. I liked the sound of that. We walked back to the house, through the gardens we'd just been married in. Tomorrow there would be more threats, more danger, more of the world that came with being Cameron Green's wife. But tonight, just tonight, we were okay. We put Max to bed together, Cameron singing softly, off key but trying. Then we stood in the doorway, watching him sleep. Thank you, Cameron whispered. For the photo. For the accident. For all of it. You gave me something I didn't know I was missing. What's that? Reason. He pulled me close, kissed the top of my head. A reason to be better. To try. To live instead of just survive. We went to our room. The one we'd share now. Husband and wife. I took off the dress. The jewelry. All the trappings of the day. Stood there in just myself. Cameron was at the window, looking out at his kingdom, his prison. I walked over, wrapped my arms around him from behind. Stop looking out there, I said. Look here instead. He turned, pulled me against him. I see you, he said. I see you and I see him and I see us. And it's enough. God help me, it's everything. We fell asleep tangled together. Two people who'd stumbled into each other's lives by accident and chose to stay on purpose. Outside, the city glittered. Dangerous and beautiful. But inside these walls we were safe. A monster learning to be a man, a woman learning to be brave, and a baby who'd brought them together. Not a fairy tale ending, just a beginning. The messy, complicated, real kind. The kind worth fighting for. The kind worth choosing, every single day.